That's your exclusive. We give exclusives on this show. So you got an exclusive from the Murray fam. All right. Well, listen, today's topic, I really want to talk about, the impacts and effects that, depression can have on your psyche, on your mental health, on your well being. Um, I recently started back in therapy, and it's been golden. It's brand new, but to have a space, to have an outlet to be able to vent and discuss these things that kind of culminate in your mind, um, there's nothing like it. Sometimes you can talk to your spouse. That's great. I encourage that. And I think that if you have a friendship outside of, work, or you got a bestie, those things are great too. But to have and to seek professional, expertise on how you can not only process trauma, process what you're experiencing, but then be able to kind of build yourself back up on what you want to work on. Those things are highly, highly important, and I can't underestimate the importance of it. So, my plea is, if you have experienced any kind of low, you just you're in a rut and you just can't figure out why you feel like you're in this rut, examine that. Don't let that just fade away, because you could be experiencing a form of depression. And I was really quick to dismiss my depression. It's just everybody has a bad day or a bad moment from time to time. But when those days kind of cross into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when they overlap, sometimes it's imperative that we seek the necessary assistance. And in our communities in particular, Black males, we don't always, I think, see the benefits of therapy or seeking counselor or therapist, and we tend to internalize these things. We tend to want to process things on our own and on our own accord. And yeah, as men, we should be strong and be able to have a backbone. But there comes a time when sometimes it's a little too much. The burden is a little too heavy. And if you don't have the proper outlets, if you don't have the necessary uh, capabilities to take care of these things, um, it can eat you up, right? Internally. And so you start getting mood swings. You become a little bit, lethargic. The things you might could have easily just hopped up and did, you don't want to do that. You literally just want to loaf around, probably sleep a lot more. You start getting a little irritable, and I even had my physical. My doctor thankfully asked me these questions like, "Hey, what's your sleep like? What's your mood like?" And as I'm filling out the paperwork, I'm like, man, I experience these things more than once a day, or once a week. This is a kind of a chronic thing at this point. And so luckily we were able to come up and say, hey, listen, it might not be a bad idea for you to make sure you're getting back with a therapist. You got a lot going on. Again, father of three, soon to be four, um, just turned 41, navigating your career. There's a lot on your plate. I'm not a young whippersnapper, as they say. I feel young, but you know, there's a lot to process there, and a lot of decisions that have to be made in the household. And so, you tend to say, I can put the weight of the world on my shoulders. I'm just not at a point where I want to do that anymore. I could have done that in my 20s, maybe even early 30s, but there comes a point where you're like, whoa, 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 no, no, I gotta. Somebody else has to share this. It can't just be with me. And so, what I found through therapy is having that necessary outlet, having that ability to unpack and then process, so that you can be able to, like, hey, this too shall pass. I have coping mechanisms now. I understand myself now. I understand my triggers. And knowing these things helps push the process along. Is it an overnight fix? No. It's a journey, and one that I do recommend anyone to take if they are feeling these levels of anxiety or undue pressures. And having been there, I'm okay with saying that. That's what this podcast is for. I want to talk about my experiences, my journeys, because I know somewhere out there, there's an individual or a group of individuals who have experienced the same things. And I think it should be talked about. So I put that out there in the atmosphere. I'd love to know, fellas, ladies, couples, are you new to therapy? Do you um, have you utilized therapy before? Are you thinking about pursuing it? And also being able to recognize forms and signs within yourself of potential depression or anxiety or mood disorders. Now, bear in mind, I'm not a medical therapist or anything of the sort. I don't hold those badges, but I am a man, and I'm wise enough, I think, at this point to understand that, hey, there are warning signs. So, do yourself a favor. It's important for your self-care. It's important for you to be able to recognize, hey, how can I be the best version of me? I know it sounds cliche. It does. And in actuality, that's what we're all striving to do. How can we be the best versions? And we can't be the best versions if we don't take time to analyze our own selves and then say, okay, let's try to fix this. Let's do something about this. Let's, put a bow around it. It's not going to get better if I just continue doing what I'm doing. That's all I'm saying. So I took that leap, and so far it's been good. It's courageous. It's a little nerve wracking, but as I realized, as my therapist is asking me questions, I said, man, there was a lot that I had been suppressing for a very long time. Um, Maybe some things I've told some folks, and there's a lot that I don't. That's the other benefit about therapy and, examining your mental health is when you are in that private setting, there's a freeing of sorts. I felt free. I felt the ability, like I wanted to purge. And a good therapist will allow you to do just that. They'll work with you. They'll kind of pull that out of you, and so you feel as though you've had that level of comfort. Um, and so we're working on it, but I was just like, man, there's a lot to unpack here. So just like my podcast, we're gonna have to do episodes. We're gonna have to do layers, and slowly but surely get to a point where it's like, okay, I feel cleansed almost. But more importantly, it's just the ability of going, just making that step. And you can't heal what you don't reveal. Ooh, that's good. I'm gonna run with that. You can't heal what you don't reveal. Um, and I plan to reveal a lot. So um, this is important, I think, in not just manhood, but in maturity. As I mature, um, I, I pride myself on saying, hey, okay, that was you last year. How can you get better next year? How can you be a better husband? How can you be a better father? How can I be a better mentor, a brother, just a role model in general? How can I be better? And these are some of the things that undoubtedly will make me better. Being able to challenge myself, be honest with myself, have honest conversations with my spouse and the people around me. Uh, when you're not okay, you're not okay. Simple as that. Um, and so, yeah, I've definitely had some days that were certainly challenging with tons of things going on and not being able to process. Sure, I have outlets, and my immediate outlet isn't always going to the gym. It's not anymore. Um, it's not reading a book. I have definitely tried to just pace myself, to just slow things down. I actually even put on my calendar now a time for me to say it's called prayer and petition. What I firmly believe in is just saying, hey, I need time to be with God. I need time to speak and talk to Him and ask for a direction. That is my go-to. Now, of course, there's others. Many people can walk it out, jog it out, box it out. And I'm sure all of those things are healthy. My time with God is very, very important to me. And it's something that I'm trying to adapt on a daily basis. Again, getting better daily. Um, but I will say that that has been vital to allowing me to process and say, okay, the words that you used with your son or your wife, was that necessary? Was that godlike? Or was that you saying internally, I'm stressed, and it coming out and manifesting itself as ill temper? Yeah, that's what that was. And so sometimes you got to take a step back and you got to really analyze yourself, self assess, edit yourself, as my wife would say. And I've noticed a change. I've noticed a difference that has been so much better for me. And that is my outlet. Curious also, if you're seeing this for the first time, um, add to the chat. We'd love to, make this interactive. What are some ways, what are some stress relievers for you? I know for some people it's cleaning the house. Um, and that actually is becoming, I'm noticing as I get older that cleaning up is actually very therapeutic. Throwing a little Anita Baker, you know what I mean? Spray the house down, make it smell good. Yeah, yeah. It does something for sure. But what are some outlets that you all are utilizing that are helpful in your journey of processing, getting through? Maybe you're not in therapy at the moment. Maybe you've crossed that journey, and so now you're wanting to deal with some things on your own. What are some ways in which you are making sure that you can be better to somebody else in processing? Again, you can't heal what you don't reveal. And so, therefore, that's my charge. That's my task to you all. I thank y'all for stopping by. Just a little bit of a moment, just a little bit of. I just wanted to get that off my chest, and that, hey, therapy doesn't have to be looked at as a bad thing. It really doesn't. Um, I encourage anyone, as a matter of fact, to try it. You know, adopt it into your practice if it makes sense for you. But there are tons of benefits, and there's several, outlets. BetterHelp, you can sign up. Maybe your company has a EAP program. If your job. So think about it that way. Don't think about maybe the pending cost, but think about how you might be better on the other side of it. That's really what the breakdown has to be. Going to the gym is an exercise, but you feel much better when you actually do it and you get through it. Everything we want in life requires sacrifice, and it requires us doing things that we don't want to do. And I'm definitely starting to understand that a little bit more. Again, with age comes wisdom. Um, so yeah, I just want to lay that on my audience, from my heart to yours. Again, I hope this topic is helpful. Hope it's allowing some folks to really recognize, like, okay, it's a young brother out there. Hey, I have nothing to be ashamed of at this particular point in time. So I know it's helpful for me. I know it works for me. And if anything that I've said today resonates with you, and you can agree with it, drop a like, drop a chat, like, share, and subscribe, as I always say. We look forward to it. All right. Well, that's it. I look forward to seeing y'all for our next episode. Stay tuned. We will be discussing the V word next. Not my favorite V word,